You've all heard of sugar, you've all heard of sugar beets, you've probably all heard of British sugar, but have you heard of BBRO? Well, if you haven't, then you're about to find out, because we are going on a journey to find out who they are and what exactly they do. So, follow me. We start our journey at the headquarters of BBRO on the internationally renowned science park in Norwich. And who else better to talk to than the head of science, Mark Stevens.
BBRO is a levy board organisation and it's supported by the growers and British Sugar. So for every tonne of sugar beet a grower produces, they pay 14 pence into a levy. That's matched by British Sugar, and it's all about trying to maintain, promote, develop the UK sugar beet crop to ensure it remains profitable and it yields well for the growers as well. BBRO has many golden opportunities to maintain and promote the yield performance. Some really exciting work that we're doing in developing new varieties with bespoke traits, understanding and how we can use some of the different technologies using things like cover crops, or even technologies that may enhance the harvesting and storage of sugar beet, as well as then being able to capture it all by using the latest drone footage, which certainly gives us and the growers and the wider industry a different perspective of how to grow sugar beet and learn from a different angle that most people are never used to seeing.
Of course, it goes without saying that research is a huge part of all the work that BBRO do, and behind me is where it all goes on. The labs here at BBRO are state of the art, and as you can see behind me, the laboratory and horticultural team are in full swing. The work carried out in these labs is crucial to understanding the diseases and pathogens attacking current sugar beet varieties.
My name is Kevin Sawford. I'm the Laboratory and Horticultural Manager. I oversee the lab, and particularly here the horticultural side that we grow in the glass houses here. And we start that work off in our growth chambers or in the glass house to find out what potentially can work and what's not working. If something's not working, we won't take it out to the field. But if there's something that looks really interesting and works in the glasshouse or in the growth chambers, we can then take it on the field to get the real time how it works in the field and the climatic conditions out there. Disease-wise, it almost seems to sometimes go in a circle. For the last few years, you hardly see any powdery mildew, but you see a lot more rust, and Cercospora is certainly coming in from the continent. Now, particularly Stemphillium may certainly be a problem. But some of the newer varieties I'm seeing in the field trials, mildew is becoming a bit more of a problem. It's just how the breeding has worked out. So again, what we're working on is making sure we're on top of whatever potential is going to happen.
What I'm interested in is the pathogen. It's the virus, what virus it is, how much of it's there. So we do what's called ELISA testing, which is done with antibodies. And so we have antibodies that are specific to those viruses, and we use them to detect the type of virus that's there. I think it's important to remember that the projects I'm working on have to come through the technical board and the stakeholder board. So we're not going to get the go-ahead to go and do that research unless they have given us the green light. And they're not going to give us the green light unless it's a problem for the farming community at that point.
The one good thing about sugar beet that always excites me as a scientist is just how the crop grows and continues to develop its potential year on year. We've tended to see the sugar beet yield go up from somewhere between 2 and 4% on an annual basis.
Oh, wow.
So it's really changed
That's
over
not
that period of
insignificant
time.
at all, is
Definitely
it?
not.
Any other organisations you collaborate with or do research with?
So collaboration is very important for the BBRO. We do have a small team that we can do things ourselves, but some of those links, particularly with the University of Nottingham, where we have Professor Debbie Sparks, who's a professor in agronomy.
It's essential that there's a pipeline, really, of research, from the fundamental research done in universities and research institutes through to the farm. And we need to maximise that pipeline of innovation, if you like, from the fundamental research through to the applied research.
Now, market-leading research is excellent, but if nobody hears about it, then nobody benefits. And that is exactly what happens here behind me. The field team are here to kickstart that knowledge exchange. Let's go and find out more. You're looking after the field team. How do you see the field team fitting into the bigger picture of BBRO, and what purpose do you serve within the company?
The field team takes the science and the protocols and applies that into field scenarios. So we get it on the paper, and then we plan how we then go into a field and apply that to get the end results that then can be given to the growers.
And how do you achieve that? How do you apply that knowledge and how do you share it with the growers?
Applying it via field trials, replicated plot trials, strip trials, some work with commercial companies as well. Then integrating that and changing that as a farm practice. So trying to show that as farmers would do it, but in a trial environment. So instead of a normal drill, we've got a specific trial drill. Instead of a normal harvester, we've got a trial harvester that specifically lifts plots rather than the whole commercial sugar beet.
Part of a great research programme is of course trials in the field, and that is exactly what you can see happening here behind me.
Here is one of our largest sites at Morley. We have a 16 hectare field here, which is Tetris placed plots all over the field, which then the host grower harvests in between the plots. Various fungicide trials here, looking at variety interaction with fungicides. We've got trials looking at different nutrition elements such as sulphur and nitrogen.
BBRO are responsible for the planning, drilling and harvesting of several sites across the East Anglia, such as this one, which is here in Morley.
Once we get all the plans for what trials we're going to do, I situate them in the field, and then obviously this time of year come out and help and get all the harvesting done and completed. When I come to planning, it's a lot of jiggling around to make everything fit where we want it and make it so we can turn the harvester where we need to and make sure it all works.
So the bags get delivered to Wissington at the BBRO plot facility there, which the bags then are hoisted into the plot facility, which then they're measured, weighed, washed, and then weighed again, and then go through the commercial tear house, so it is representative to a grower's crop to get the final analysis.
Is it all kind of one-way traffic? Is it just yourselves talking to the growers, or is there a way that they can get in contact with you when they've got particular questions or need support?
So I like to use the word knowledge exchange, because that exchange bit is very, very important. And I think that's important from a number of fronts. Not just so we hear what the current issues are, what the real challenges are for growers, we also learn from growers as well. Because there's some growers out there who can be very innovative, in fact are very innovative, and innovative in sometimes areas we can't be, because they have whole farms as their kind of board to play with. We have small plots, but they can do things at a whole farm level. And I think by working with growers and working in that way, we can learn a lot from that.
The research BBRO conducts is directed very much at real problems faced by growers. Stephen Aldis is the man that takes the work carried out by the team in the lab, goes on farm to work with the growers and puts that science into practice.
Down on the farm it's just me, a bucket, a set of scales and a tape measure generally. Try and quantify the yield, potential yield of the crop, and then we're looking at the surface losses behind the machine. This makes up a smaller part of the loss, and then we'll analyse the root breakage and also score the crowning. But once I've completed the test, we do a few calculations and I'll get back in with the operator, feedback what the results are, we'll have a bit of a conversation. Obviously I'm getting a lot of feedback from them about what they're seeing this season. I'm working in real time, so the harvester is running as I'm there, so the feedback I can potentially give will improve yield that day. It's a very instant reaction. We're always taking in the conditions that the machines are working in, so the soil type, moisture level, just to try and understand exactly why we're getting the results that we are.
For me, it's very much about taking some of the great science we do, especially through our small plot work, and really getting it implemented in practice with growers. I think many growers struggle with taking some of that highly technical information and scaling it up to what I call commercial practice. So by having initiatives such as the demonstration farms, that allows us to kind of scale it up to them and bring it home to them, make it real.
And here we are, where not even a crisp November morning can stop the BBRO doing what they do. And today we're here at a workshop where they're filtering down the knowledge that they have amassed to the feet on the ground.
By interacting and working with the grower base and also with British Sugar as well, we can challenge, we can develop, and we can go back to things that we may know about previously and then actually rethink about how we do things. So it's all about trying to ensure that we promote that yield with them and learn from each other. Learning from each other is key.
The day consists of a series of stations, all of which are run by experts in their field.
What is unique about BBRO is we kind of bring the research and the advisory, the knowledge exchange together, and they're very focused and very targeted, and we develop very strong relationships with their sugar beet growers by doing it that way.
So I suppose for you it's a link into the research that's hopefully innovating and keeping you one step ahead of the changes.
Definitely.
Which I guess is kind of crucial to you guys as the feet on the ground.
Yeah, well certainly with fungicides, you know, I used to be much more blasé about them. Now, you know, over the years I've realised how much importance they are.
Yeah.
I think all their work on varieties and everything, the yields are staggering really. And
the BBRO were sort of first port of call. Definitely. Look at their literature that they produce, their guidance books. You know, are second to none really.
I believe that BBRO and the work it does is critical for promoting the industry to ensure we can continue to generate those really important yield benefits. When you compare sugar beet to every other arable crop, most of the arable crops have plateaued in their yield performance. BBRO has helped to ensure that on year we're gaining up to 4% yearly situation. And if it wasn't for BBRO's research and energy and being able to promote it to the wider industry, then maybe those yield gains would not have been as great. So BBRO has been critical and will continue to be critical in the future to push those yields for farmers.
Well, I hope that's given you a quick insight into what BBRO are all about and all the good work that they do. Of course, there's plenty more information on the website, and if you wanted to get in touch, then all the means of contact are on the screen now.